From rags to riches, the tragic events that help shape tremendous careers. Today, let's dive into the most fascinating stories about your favorite footballers that you definitely didn't know about. To kick things off, Ronaldo's story is quite well known. It's the best rags to riches story you'd ever hear, but did you know that his father was a raging alcoholic and his mother was the sole provider for the entire family? Madeira is a beautiful place to grow up, but it's a remote island, and the best she could do was work as a chef and a maid. Ronaldo had to share a room, and at times, he didn't even have the right shoes to play football. Cristiano Ronaldo not having the right shoes? It's insanity, isn't it? His passion was so incredible, though, that it drove him all the way to the very top. Eventually, he got picked up by Sporting CP, and the rest, as they say, is history. But his biggest rival ever has an even better story. Y'all know how Lionel Messi suffered from a growth deficiency, right? I'm sure you didn't know that the only reason he ended up in Barcelona was that his father couldn't afford his treatment. There were never any doubts over his talent, yes, but there's a chance he would have taken the route from the Newell Old Boys and then moved to Europe. It also would have allowed for a bidding war for all the big European clubs, because everyone knew how talented Lionel was. Only Barca were brave enough to put all their eggs in the Messi basket, and we all know how that turned out, huh? The operation was a success. Messi eventually was forced to adopt a more healthy snacking routine, but it all worked out well, and the Argentine superstar became the greatest player of all time. Another Ballon d'Or winner who almost didn't have a career due to an operation was Brazilian legend Ricardo Kaka. Can you even imagine that? That's how fate works, though, because before he rose to stardom, the former AC Milan midfielder was involved in a horrible attack which resulted in a career-threatening injury. Now, this was a serious issue because a medical examination showed a spinal fracture. Doctors told him the chances of coming through unscathed were rather slim, and there was a chance he might never walk. Not one to give up hope, Kaka went through with the operation, putting up a brave face. As you all know, luck favors the brave, and Kaka would go on to represent some of the biggest football clubs in history, winning the biggest prizes the sport had to offer. And you can run it back for N'Golo Conte too. The man who helped Leicester City pull off the craziest story in footballing history, Conte actually came from a very humble childhood. Things were so bad for the former Premier League legend that he collected garbage from the streets to help pay for his father's treatment. His knack for taking on responsibility put him in charge of his family, and with his father hospitalized, Conte had to grow up without a normal childhood. 3 years later, Conte lost his father and reality hit him. He was officially the sole breadwinner of his family, but if there's one thing you can be sure about Conte, it's that he'll always have your back. That's why he's one of the most sought-after defensive midfielders to play the game. But before he was doing the dirty work for the biggest clubs in Europe, Conte did every odd job in the world to support his family. It's only fair he gets to enjoy the biggest prizes in football and is universally loved by every fan. That said, Conte's story isn't even the craziest on this list. How about Luka Modric growing up in literal war? Yeah, fans got to know about this little nugget when Modric was asked if he was nervous before a derby match. The Croatian replied hilariously how he's lived through war, he's sure he can handle the pressure. Unfortunately, that bit is actually true. Luka handled the pressure pretty well, even scored a goal in the El Clasico. But even the first part of the story is very true. Modric grew up in a really poor motel along with his refugee family with war all around them. He traveled through the shelling and the bombing to seek shelter with his friends. We're incredibly lucky to witness his career because it easily could have been so very different. Things were extremely dark for Luka growing up. At one point, his coach would give him some food because his family couldn't afford it. The coach wasn't only concerned with teaching him the basics, he also had to keep a lookout for grenades falling in the practice fields. But all that effort worked out like a charm. Modric is among the greatest midfielders to play the game, playing for the biggest club in the world, and has become the brand ambassador for Nike. What a story! If that doesn't inspire you. I'll try my luck with the Angel Di Maria story, one that brought me to literal tears. Growing up, Di Maria worked in a coal mine along with his sisters and father. That's how tough he had it, but not one to complain. Angel ended up using his skill set in the best way possible. Think about it. If you had to describe his gameplay, what's the one word you'd use? Intelligent, skillful, and energetic. Yep, that's right. And you can almost picture his energy levels back when he was a kiddo. His high energy levels were very puzzling for the doctors, who forced him to participate in sports, and that was the best decision of his life. Di Maria realized he had a gift for football. He got noticed by scouts instantly, who pulled him out of that tough life, landing him a pro contract. Thanks to all that, Di Maria's gone on to build a successful career, representing the biggest clubs in Italy, England, and Spain, and became a world champion as well to cap it all off in 2022. But Di Maria's story pales in comparison to the story of Gabriel Jesus, the Brazilian striker who led the line for Manchester City, winning many honors before joining Arsenal, where he plays for the North London club these days. I'm sure you must have seen this picture doing the rounds on social media not too long ago. Well, allow me to fill you in on the story behind it. You see, 9 years ago, when Brazil hosted the prestigious FIFA World Cup in 2014, Jesus, a young teenager, wasn't even a professional footballer. In fact, he was pictured by some random newspaper as one of the many kids who helped paint the city ahead of the grand event. But as luck would have it, only 2 years later, Gabriel Jesus was the only one among them who had established himself as a pro footballer and won the Olympics with the Brazil national team. Talk about never giving up your dreams, huh? So that was all I had on the stories you didn't know about football players. Keep liking and leaving comments, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more entertaining videos like this one.